Hey everyone, welcome back. We're currently trying to cook some other builds as always. In the meantime, I had someone request a Vauban video and I thought it was time to undust an old toy of ours and make both a strong but also thematic build that was easy to use. This is our trusty mechanic Vauban. It is a camping setup where you plop down your deployables and just call it a day. If you recall, the last time I made a dedicated Vauban build was, well, over 2.5 years ago when we discovered how to scale Flechette Orbs into infinity. Today is another thematic build. We're giving our trusty mechanic engineer a hammer. And not just any hammer, it's the mighty Wolf Sledge. This is a comfy way to drag enemies into your Bastille armor strip and blow them all up with your trusty hammer and wrench. Let's get into it. The whole crux of this build is once again Bastille, just like last time. We're still operating off a fastest possible strip setup, but we have many cooler tools at our disposal now. A nice bonus on the setup is that you can still throw down your Flechette Orbs to destroy everything like my old build, because the build stats today have the freedom to support that as well. To be clear, this is a camping or semi-camping build. It does not work for run and gun. This will come up later again when discussing some issues I avoided. Instead, let's look at our choice of weapon. The Wolf Sledge. This is a rather notable weapon, dropping from the hated Wolf of Saturn 6 boss. Luckily, it's tradable if you don't want to farm it that way, but there are also other alternatives today, most obviously stuff like Xoris or Falcor, but there's a reason I chose the Wolf Sledge. It can still function like a normal weapon, making it very easy to build combo on, without requiring vortex casting to do ground finishers like a glaive needs to build combo quickly. It also feels better to swing, and most importantly, you can throw it. The thrown Wolf Sledge windup scales with attack speed instead of heavy windup, meaning you do not need to use heavy windup mods. More importantly, it is pure blast instead of force proc electric. Now, this might be a bit odd for preferences on a melee influence build, but you have to understand why this is important. Remember, this is not a run and gun Vauban. Wolf Sledge being blast on both the bounces and explosions means I can mod for viral and electric, allowing me to boost my damage and proc influence in an AoE for non-linear spreading. While the blast proc isn't forced, and of course, the modded viral and electric isn't, Wolf Sledge has a hidden base status of 50% on the bounce explosion. Yes, 50%. And it scales with Weeping Wounds, reaching 307.5% on today's setup at 12 times combo. And we only use throws and no heavy explosions, so the combo never drops since throws hits also maintain combo. The throw and AoE have triple damage scaling as well, being base 777 instead of 259. Also, these three elements allow me to spam Cord and Manifold Bond from my Nautilus to drag ever more enemies into my Bastille without accidentally crowd controlling them outside. Falcor and Xoris have a problem for camping setups if you want to spam Cord and Manifold Bond with them. You need 3 non-IPS elements, with one being the Force Proc Electric. You could go Corrosive Blast, but keep in mind that takes 4 mod slots, or Radiation Virulence 3 mod slots, because Focus Radon now exists, but Radiation has a crowd control problem, preventing enemies from approaching your Bastille because of the 20-meter friendly fire status that is spread. So you either down one mod on a glaive that really wants heavy windup, or you save a slot but you have an annoying crowd control that prevents camping since enemies don't want to come to you. Falcor and Xoris work better for semi-camp and best for run and gun, so feel free to tweak playstyles and builds as much as you wish, but hopefully this outlines why I chose the Wolf Sledge for today, being thematic to the mechanic and engineer theme, while also being perfectly swingable as a normal melee weapon as well. Also, do keep in mind Falcor and Xoris already destroy on any frame, especially with Emerald Shards, on a corrosive build due to the Force Electric proc, so they hardly add anything here for Vauban. What if I told you this Vauban needs 0 shards, optional 2 casting speed, and is only 2 Forma? Granted, it does have spare slots, but hey, that's one completely free open mod slot to do whatever you want, as well as an arcane, since the build is already complete. The only tweak is increasing or decreasing narrow-minded or adding a range mod to achieve the range stat you want. I would personally recommend between 142 to 175, as going larger than this can cause problems for a melee influence hitting across Bastille's radii. Armor strip is tied to Bastille and Vauban and shreds a percent of total armor, additively, per second. It scales linearly to strength at a 10% ratio, so 100% strength is 10% strip, which would need 10 seconds to fully strip. Our target today is to be above 333 so that we can strip over 33% per second, full stripping in 3 seconds. But how do I achieve that with just 85 base strength? There are a lot of inbuilt buffs here, so listen closely. Corrosive projection cuts armor strip needed to just 82%, and if we want to strip that in 3 seconds, we need 1/3, or 27.4% strip per second, or just 274 strength. Precision Intensify grants plus 90% to Bastille specifically. Molt Augmented grants plus 60%. I'm also using Matter to grant another plus 40%, bringing us up to 275% strength. If you do not want to use Matter, feel free to slot Umbral Intensify in the final mod slot, or compensate with more strength shards. Duration is kept at 200% plus so that our Bastille lasts at least 30 seconds each, which is my typical duration benchmark for important setup abilities. You basically chuck one in one direction and the other beside it in the opposite, making a kind of overlapping circle like the infinity symbol or some kind of oval. Kill stuff on one side, go to the other circle and kill stuff on the other. Range is kept moderate, so that Cordon's 30-meter pull is still able to attract enemies from both sides while allowing us to maintain high duration and strength. We do not want to use the Repelling Bastille augment because we don't like Vortex today. Bastille cannot armor strip when there's a Vortex with an overlapping pull radius to it. If anything, this saves us a mod slot. Your top arcane is optional, but consider Arcane Reaper for on-demand armor if you aren't using Steel Fiber, otherwise you can pick anything. This Vauban doesn't get hit very often, so on-hit procs like Adaptation and Arcane Guardian are rather inconsistent on uptime. Your helmet is also completely free, as it is not required for this build to function. You have enough energy to cast 2 Bastilles instantly at the same time, and kills should easily refund the cast. Consider your free arcane and open mod slots when deciding what helmet to add on and possibly energy economy. I would not recommend Nourish, or any other elemental helmet that isn't Shock Trooper, as the high strength will screw over electric weight for activating melee influence consistently. And well, that's it for our mechanic engineer, Vauban. I don't care what you use for your guns, but recommend Dexterity Arcanes for melee combo duration. Focus School is also entirely up to your liking. You might want to bring proper weapons of your choice for the Acolyte. Our companion build is the same basic Nautilus setup as always, Cord and Manifold spam. The 3 elements on your melee, Blast, Viral, and Electric, will easily transfer across melee influence to rapidly trigger Manifold Bond repeatedly to cut down Cordon's cooldown. Besides Radar, Vacuum, and Primed Regen for obvious reasons, the entire rest of the build is flex. Cheers. If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or better yet, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible, like I've done with the Whispers in the Wall update. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching and see you all next time.